Hello, welcome to Catching Up with Claudia. Now, ojalá que se puedan quedar hasta el final para que puedan escuchar lo que va a compartir mi invitada o mi invitado. Así es que no se les olvide también de seguirnos por las redes sociales. Estamos en todas las plataformas. Hasta luego. Why, hello, hello, hello. How's it going? ¿Cómo están todos aquí en RadioCristalUSA.com? We are just getting started. We had a little bit of little connection mishaps, but you know what they say about technology? All technology will fail, but that's okay because we're going to just keep on trying and see if it is showing up. A ver, can you see us?
I can see you.
All right. Yes. And I'm watching it right now too. And I'm like, here we are. We are not pixelated. We are live on RadioCristalUSA.com, RadioCristalUSA.com. And I'm super excited to be here today because, you know, I have been doing this show for a while. And every time I do it, I am reminded of the amazing people out there doing amazing work. And I like the word amazing. I'm just going to keep on using it because, you know, I work with little ones and I work with like preschoolers and parents. I have little ones, so sometimes I have a limited vocabulary. But anywho, welcome to this installment, this episode of Catching Up with Claudia, La Super Comadre of RadioCristalUSA.com. And if you want to, catch up with me and share something that you have for the community, a resource, a story, something that can uplift a community, somebody out there, please reach out to me. Email me at claudiaiselamacias@gmail.com. I would love to connect with you, and I would love to have you on this platform because when I first started this, it was all about elevating folks, elevating dreams, passions, stories. And we're still doing this. And I want to catch up with my comadre Liliana too, because she is back there always making sure that everything is connected and reconnected and up and running. So I want to catch up with my super comadre Liliana. Where are you? ¿Dónde estás?
I'm right here. Oh my God. I'm right here watching you. And I love it. I love how you look. You look so fresh.
Thank you. Thank you.
So pretty. Como siempre, comadre.
Pues muchísimas gracias. And, before I bring on my my two guests, and I just want to catch up with you. What's going on? What's new?
I want to share that this coming Saturday, the 28th, we're going to have our first fall festival at Supernova Furniture.
Okay.
What I want to share with everyone, it's going to be a free event.
Yes.
Raffle a recliner. It's
oh my gosh,
$800 worth recliner. From Supernova, and you can see here the information. It's this coming Saturday.
Yes.
At 11 in the morning. It starts at 11 and it ends at 2 p.m. Supernova Furniture in Katy, Texas.
Nice. I love it. Thank you so much because we're all about la comunidad and making sure that there are events that we need to share, that we need to put together and make sure that families can come out and have a good time. El Festival de Otoño, it's a fall fest. Come on out. Like she said, she's going to be there promoting it. I'm always trying to make it, comadre, but
I know, it's hard.
It's hard. I will make it one day. I think I'm going to have to take Friday off.
Yeah, but you know what? Everyone can take their kids. We're going to have Loteria Mexicana.
Ooh.
We're going to have giveaways. We're going to have rifas, raffles, music. We have special guests coming to sing for us. And remember, everything is free. Free parking, free entrance, free Loteria, free tickets for the raffles, and everything's free. You can go there from 11 to 2 p.m. It's on Fry Road near I-10. So it's 1250 North Fry Road, Katy, Texas. Ahí estamos. We'll see you this coming Saturday, September 28th from 11 to 2 p.m.
All right. Well, you heard it right here.
For you. to share with everyone.
Yes, and that's what I want this to be. This is a platform where we're sharing, where we're connecting, and just making sure that people know what's going on en la comunidad y para que puedan llevar a los niños también para que se divierten en familia y
Yeah.
puedan hacer algo juntos. So I'm super excited to continue seeing this because when you did it that first time, and I'm like, oh my god, this is really cool. And then another
It's
one,
the
and then
fourth,
another one, and this is
it's
a fourth one.
the fall one.
The
So the last three ones were summer.
yeah.
Summer festivals, and this is the first fall
Oh
festival.
my gosh, that's amazing. And I can't wait until fall really falls on us. I know we already are in fall mode, September the 21st, but this is Houston fall and it's a little bit different down here.
And as you,
But
it's a hot flash era.
you know what? It could be that. Speaking of hot flash, I'm going to go into that right now. But before we go into my hot flash era moment,
Behind the scenes.
I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye to my super comadre Liliana. And I just want to share a little bit about what's been going on in my hot flash era. Okay, listen to your body. If you are anywhere near my age, 50 or almost 50 or into the 50s, things change. And I just want to say thank you to one of my show sponsors, Men Awake. I have been using her products. I did fall off the wagon for a bit, but I got back on them. One of them is her hibiscus tea. I've been drinking that, helping me to detox. But Men Awake products, it's products for the person going through menopause, and it's helping you to, I guess, accept and to step into this new era with grace, because that's one of the things that I had to remember. There's so many things that I've been experiencing within this last year of going into menopause. There's been things that have been happening that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going crazy. And I even had conversations with other women. I was opening up and I'm like, what's going on? Do y'all feel this? And do y'all feel that? And so it's been amazing to be there with women that have gone through it, and they're sharing with me information. And that's what this is about, connect with other people, open up to those that you feel comfortable opening up to, because you know yourself best, and you want to make sure you seek people that you can confide in, and they have your back, and they're going to be there to support you and to connect you with potentially a treatment or a resource or a product that can help you. But always make sure you check with your doctor, your primary care physician, seek them to help you in this journey, because it's been rough. Everything from like forgetting stuff to, oh my God, it's hot, I'm the only one that's burning up, anyone else hot, nobody else is hot, to even my doctor said that even the sciatica issues I had, the vertigo issues I've had, that's all connected. Did I say forgetting stuff? That happens a lot, where I forget, like, oh my gosh, I was driving somewhere and I'm like, wait, am I supposed to be going? Wait, where was I going? And the girls are with me too, where I'm like driving them somewhere. They're like, Mom, I thought you said we're going blah, blah. And I'm like, oh yeah. And, so a lot of things have been happening. So for everyone, it's different, but just check yourself, listen to yourself, take care of yourself, connect so that you can go through this with grace, and give yourself grace. All right. So a couple of other sponsor shout outs. Thank you, Chris Pignon, for your amazing photography skills. You're always capturing the moments so lovingly. So Chris Pignon, if you need him, get your pictures taken by him for all your, wonderful milestone events, or you want some headshots for work, he can take care of it. As you can see, my Men Awake product right there. Thank you so much for the products. I'm always trying them out and keeping myself sane with them. Get glammed up. Get glammed up. If you can see, I got my Fiesta earrings, and you guys, to go with my blouse, because I am celebrating the Hispanic Heritage Month. And so get glammed up by Ilsa. She has pop-ups here and there. Just follow her and you can see where her pop-up boutique's going to be. So that way you can get glammed up by Ilsa. And get your face dolled up by Cookie Face Cosmetics. So I put on my makeup on today using her eyeshadow palettes and her lip glosses. And then boom, I'm ready to be here with you. All right. So thank you to all my show sponsors, Cookie Face Cosmetics, Chris Pignon Photography, Ilsa Glam Boutique, and Men Awake Menopause Products. All right. So before we get moving into this amazing person that is here in the wing waiting to come on, I just wanted to give a little intro to my guest. Yes, I printed out my stuff and I have it in large font because, you know, that's what happens with menopause too. And sometimes you can't see very well. You got to put on your readers, and I don't even know where I put my readers. But anyways, I'll do my best. All right. So I want to bring on this woman, Donna Kim Murphy. She's an MD. She's a PhD. She's a CHW, community health worker. And, you know, Donna's a neurologist. She is a neuroscientist, a community health worker and organizer. And she is a co-founder of Prognose Us. So we just had World Alzheimer's Day. And this is around that. I wanted to bring her on because she reached out to me and she's like, you know, I have something to share. It's around Alzheimer's. I want to talk about prognosis and share that. And yeah, so without further ado, let's bring on Donna Kim Murphy. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So I wanted to bring you on because for my show, the name of it is Super Comadre, and that just means super co-mom. Mm-hmm. And in the spirit of bringing, you know, people, it could be a man too, compadre, that has something to share, something to give to the community, because we don't know whose ears this might reach. And maybe someone needs to hear this for themselves, for their family, for a loved one. So World Alzheimer's Day, that just happened. What day was that, Donna?
September 21st.
That's right. The day when fall actually started.
Yeah.
Supposedly. But I want to bring you on and I want you to share a little bit about you. Tell us about you. Who is Donna Kim Murphy? And then go into the passion you have behind the work you do with prognosis, with, you know, making sure that we know about World Alzheimer's Day.
Sure. I am from Houston. I was born and raised in Texas. Gosh, I could say so many things. I'm Korean American. I speak Spanish nearly fluently, and I speak Korean like I'm 5. Other than that, I learned enough vocabulary to be able to navigate as a translator for the polls.
Okay.
Times. But yeah, very, very interested in the intersection between like the advocacy work that we do and making like systems change or political change. People who are disproportionately impacted by a lot of different injustices. And that touches upon the work that we do at Prognosis, which is really at the intersections of health, poverty, racial justice, immigrants' rights. But specifically as that pertains to dementia and how that impacts our families.
Absolutely. And there's a story that's behind this that I was reading, you know, in what you shared with me about your grandparents and how this, you know, is their experience or your experience with them? How did that fuel the work that you do?
Yeah, it definitely made me very personally invested in what I'm doing professionally. I have had 3 grandparents now, one of whom is still with us, and the 4th of whom I didn't actually ever meet. He died when my father was very young. The 3 that I knew all had or have dementia. My father now is in his mid-70s. He's beginning to have some, you know, challenges, cognitive challenges, doesn't have dementia, but has a kind of a precursor to that, which doesn't always progress, but often does with time. So we're doing the best we can to like address all of the risk factors to slow that down as much as we can. And yeah, then I also had a brain infection when I was younger, like in my 20s, and that increases your risk about 30-fold. So I have just great personal acquired risk of the disease as well as heritable risk of the disease. I've seen how taxing it has been on my own family, you know, my parents, my aunts and uncles. And I don't want that for my kids. I don't want that for anyone's families. So I'm working really hard now in multiple ways to try to address some of the systems challenges that we face. So that level of change, I think, is really, really important, but also kind of acutely addressing the difficulty of all of this with caregivers who are going through this at this moment.
Mm-hmm. That is a very scary thing to hear. I'm assuming, like, when you're in the doctor's office, you receive a diagnosis. What is the first thing that a family member could do to be supportive? Or if you're on the receiving end, what do you recommend when you hear that, whether in, dementia, Alzheimer's? Talk to us about that, so the person that can be hearing this has something that they could go on.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I will say is, like, really just, like, stop and take breath. It's really important to not kind of get too overwhelmed by all of this in a way that, like, deters you or keeps you from actually doing all of the things that you're going to have to be doing in the next many months, so that you can really try to avoid the most costly aspects of this disease. Like, if you can kind of get a handle on it at the beginning, right? I think the other thing is, like, to try to, like, remind yourself that this is a brain disease, and at many levels, you are not responsible for what has happened, right? Mm-hmm. And at some levels, we can do things to prevent it and slow down the progression. So we can take responsibility and be empowered in those ways, but to not blame ourselves in the moment that we get the diagnosis, to not blame our loved ones in the moment that they receive the diagnosis, but really to be there, if you're a caregiver or a caregiver to be, supporting them, kind of destigmatizing the condition. And I think a lot of us don't understand enough about it, which is why it ends up being so stigmatized.
Yeah.
But yeah, just, reminding them that you love them no matter what, no matter how they are, I think a lot of our self-worth is tied up in what we are able to do. Right. And this is a disease that impacts what you're able to do. It fundamentally will change, like, your ability to live independently over time, right? And so that is really obviously very disturbing for all of us. And so, kind of knowing that up front, I think also just kind of preparing for that, potential revelation at your visit, getting that workup done, because it is a concern, just like preparing yourself for that potential outcome. And then knowing that there is so much that you can actually do, as I said, ahead of time to make the journey with the disease much easier. It's not going to be easy. I'm not going to lie about that. It won't be easy at any level. The emotional impact, the health impact, the social impact, it's not going to be easy, but it could be so much easier if at the beginning, come to, kind of quick acceptance and just kind of think together, now, how can we organize the team that we need that is going to support the person primarily providing the care, because it often does fall to one person. That's the reality. It's rare that, like, people are equally splitting responsibilities. And so making sure that other folks are showing up in ways to, schedule relief for that person, to financially support the person who has the diagnosis, as well as the primary caregiver.
Wow. That's monumental. And you said, I want to take you back to prevention. What are some things you said, a couple of things that were the costly parts of it, the costly aspects of the disease. Like, once you have to plan to go through that journey, and making sure that, there's someone, is someone elected? And so we'll get to that. But like, prevention, what are some things that you can guide us to look for, to start doing, whether we know if it's in our family or not, when we're talking about Alzheimer's? And I want you to also, like, tell me, Alzheimer's, dementia, same thing, different thing, different. Talk to us about that too.
Yeah, that's an easy answer, that latter one. And that is that Alzheimer's is the most common kind of dementia.
Okay.
Dementia is the loss of brain cells over time.
Okay.
So it's a gradual, progressive loss of brain cells over time. And Alzheimer's it probably accounts for about 60 to 80% of all cases of dementia. And then there are others that are less common, but still common enough that You might hear vascular dementia, you might hear frontotemporal dementia. That's what Bruce Willis has. You might hear Lewy body dementia. So those are other kinds of dementia. They often will present in slightly different ways, or sometimes dramatically different ways than Alzheimer's dementia will. Alzheimer's is typically memory impairment. So people may be kind of repeating the same story or asking the same question that they just asked, maybe losing things around the house. It can be like changes in mood. It can be other changes in behavior, like kind of agitation, anxiety, social withdrawal. So it can be any of those things, but some of those other dementias can be pretty different. But I won't go into all of that. I'll answer your first question, which was about prevention.
Yeah, going to prevention now. What can we do? What should we look for so that we can take care of ourselves in the event that that's the path that shows up?
Yeah, this is my favorite topic, because I think that if people really did these things, we could dramatically decrease the amount of people who have this disease, and or slow it down so substantially that like the person by the end of their lives, maybe they pass of like a heart attack in their sleep, when they're 98 or something, right? By the end of their lives, they will have progressed so minimally that it didn't really matter, right? And if you can slow it down, that could be real, right? Like that could be your course with the disease, and that's so much easier than like what happens to many people right now. And so the preventative things we can do, the Lancet, which is like a scientific journal, just published, I think this summer or maybe late spring, the 14 modifiable risk factors for this disease. And many of those risk factors, and you can find all of these on our Instagram, like we posted as a little reel. But the 14 risk factors, many of them are related to cardiometabolic health, right? So that has to do with the heart and your metabolism. Those diseases or conditions are high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, other things that are kind of behavioral that, those can also be behavioral because they have to do with diet and exercise, right? But also there may be some genetic predisposition for you to have those conditions as well. The things that purely are our choice in many ways are smoking and alcohol consumption. Those things are also risk factors for dementia. Interestingly, head injury is a risk factor for dementia.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, think twice maybe before doing things that might put your head at risk of being injured. Maybe wear a helmet when you,
wear the helmets.
Maybe think about flag football instead of tackle football.
Yeah.
That's a controversial one in Texas.
I know, especially in Texas. So sports like sports that involve concussion, I guess.
Correct.
Right? As I'm hearing. Okay.
Yep. That is a risk factor for this disease. And the other ones that are interesting are hearing loss and vision loss. Both of those are risk factors as well.
Okay.
Social isolation is a risk factor. So if you remember during the pandemic, you may have heard stories of older people who were, many more older people seem to be, having dementia or dementia-like symptoms during the pandemic and after the pandemic. It's because we were so socially isolated, and that actually can accelerate dementia, or it can, put you at risk for it starting to show itself. And the last one, which is not really something we can do anything about as individuals, but something that we should pay attention to as like a society, is air pollution.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
why is it?
It's the particulate matter, we think, is like maybe causing kind of inflammation, and so that causes a lot of problems, not just brain problems, but
asthma, breathing. I mean, a lot of things just come to mind. Yeah.
It increases your risk of stroke. Air pollution is really bad, which is like another reason why we should be advocating for, environmental
absolutely. Especially here in Texas, we just had a big fire like a week ago. We had someone crash, unfortunately lost their life. They crashed into a gas line that was coming out of the ground, and it was out in Deer Park. And I live more in the southwest part of Houston. And so I immediately called my parents, because my parents actually still live in an area that's close to what is now being called Cancer Alley or Cancer Area, near the ship channel, where all of those places that are making all this pollutions, as they're creating whatever needs to be created and set around the world. But yeah, I immediately call my parents. I'm like, you guys need to just leave, just come to my house, because you guys are right there where I don't even know which way the wind's going, but just come to my house just to be safe. And they're like, no, we're good. We're good. They don't want to leave. They're elderly and they don't want to leave. They can still drive around and get themselves anywhere they need to go. Right. But which goes back to what you talked about, the justice, the environmental justice piece. And my question was, why do we have homes and schools around these places?
Great question. And why is it racialized too?
Yeah, absolutely. That's another thing. Who's living there and why are we making affordable housing there? Because they did talk about how some places that had to be evacuated, and they did name some places that it was housing for individuals that needed housing.
Right.
So to me, I'm like, why are we not taking care of people? I get it. We got to make this stuff, but why are we putting people around these areas? Because it's just not just, there's no justice in that. So yes, there's so many paths that are crossing here and making sure that, we have awareness. But like you said, in the work you've done before, you mentioned you worked at the polls.
Exactly.
Me too.
Related. Yeah.
And when you reached out to me, we have actually connected in the past. I'm like, wait.
In our political work, yes.
Right. And and I don't know how, I'm just going to say this, but, I am voting a certain way, and everyone just needs to look at information, look at what is it that you need. Like you were talking about being preventative, right? What are the things that we can prevent? We have to also make sure, what can we prevent with the people that we put in, the people that we elect? We got to make sure we choose the right people that are going to, do what's right for our water, our air, our food, yes, regulations. Why are we building this where? Why? Like another thing, Donna, that comes to mind is I was born and raised here in Houston. Mm-hmm. I've seen all kinds of constructions go up and down. I have seen stores in malls be turned into kidney dialysis places, like all over town. I mean, all of a sudden there's like all kinds of kidney dialysis places. And I'm like, and now there's a dial spa. I probably shouldn't even say that, but it's like, oh, now it's a spa moment to go to dialysis. Why are we not stopping, like the way how we should tell people to question, why are we building stuff here? Why are you allowing this to happen? Why don't we have more kidney dialysis places? Why don't we start looking at let's follow the money, let's follow what we need to do. Yeah. And I guess that it all has to do with, like what you said, the work that we've done in the past is being that voice, creating the organizations, connecting information to people in a way that they can take it and understand it.
Exactly.
Because it's all about messaging. If we can message the information and let them see, like, this equals to that, which equals to this, and this is why we need to do this. Like that way they can see, this is affecting my health. It can affect I can get, a stroke. I can have, this dementia. Why? So thank you for doing the work of being a translator. I worked the poll a while back.
I actually have not done translation in Spanish. I should have been doing it in Spanish, but I had to beef up on words in Korean for the Democratic candidate or the Republican candidate.
Yeah, but thank you for doing that work, because I always I love the quote. I think it was Sir Galileo, I'm not sure, that said that I'm only standing when I stand on the shoulders of giants. I can see far. I probably messed up the whole quote, but I can only see far by the shoulders who's the giants I stood upon. And now we're those giants. Now we're the ones that we're holding other people up so that they can do the work once you get a little bit older, and they can continue carrying that torch, you with prognosis. So talk now about prognosis, brain health together. Share what prognosis is, and how can this support, this, Alzheimer's, dementia. Talk to us about that.
I mean, I think from my perspective and from what I've just observed in terms of what value we bring to caregivers, it's community. It's connecting with other family caregivers from shared cultural heritage, in shared language, about caring for someone with this disease in this moment, and people who are also in the same place. So we are national, and actually we also are taking folks, caregivers, subscribers from Ecuador, in Spanish,
Nice.
supporting also immigrants here, obviously in Spanish, but we have most of our people who are currently participating from Houston, Harris County, because most of our organizational relationships or partnerships are with like the local government agencies in Houston, Harris County, and like the 13 counties surrounding Houston. So yeah, that's been really important, I think, for people to be able to connect at that level, right? Like talking about local resources, places locally that they can take their loved one to. Yeah, so I think that's been really meaningful. But I think, yeah, the cultural fluency aspect, also building a team that is community health workers. We have also one social worker who reflects the people that we have as caregivers, who are the people who are disproportionately impacted. So Black and immigrant caregivers. And that is who our team is, apart from myself. So yeah, I mean, I think that's also important, because the person who moderates the space, who shapes the space for the people who are in it, right, who are trying to connect with one another, is ideally also from those communities, right?
Absolutely. That connection. Yeah. Yeah. So for prognosis, what you do is you have a group of community health workers and then they get trained, I'm assuming, to work within the Alzheimer's dementia space. Is that okay?
Right. And so what we do is we connect with caregivers via WhatsApp and also virtual weekly check-ins. So we'll do like a Zoom call with all of the caregivers and have a session that's very structured. We track caregiver burden, caregiver stress. One exciting finding that we have looked at recently in our data is that if you participate regularly with us, so like, several weeks a month, right? You will see a decline, a drop in your caregiver stress. The tool that everybody uses actually for caregiver burden, caregiver stress. The other thing that we have for people on kind of the front end of this, so if you're worried about someone who has this condition and you have your reasons for why you're delayed or perhaps may never go to the doctor, which I discourage, but I also understand when it happens because of the many kinds of barriers, right? Even in my family, my father didn't want to go to the neurologist because who speaks Korean and who understands his culture and who understands the stigma he feels from like being out in public in a neurologist's office, like being evaluated for a condition that is so heavily stigmatized in our community. And so he waited 18 months, and I'm a neurologist. I was like, Dad, you need to go to a neurologist, and I'm not going to be that person. I will not be your neurologist, right? I will tell you what I think is going on, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, but I will not be the person who cares for you. It is not appropriate. I want you to get a professional to care for you. That is not me. And it took him 18 months to do that, right? So I get the delays, but in the meantime, caregivers are really frustrated, right? And they sometimes feel very kind of gaslit, like their loved ones telling them, no, nothing's wrong with me. They're denying it, whether it is because they've lost insight that they actually even have something going on, or likelier, if it's very early on, it's not that they don't know, it's that they're ashamed. So whatever it is, people deny it. And so then, the caregiver is like very, very frustrated. So we have these tools that allow you to basically fill it out on behalf of your loved one.
Wow. Okay.
Or they can fill it out themselves, the person who's having the symptoms themselves. And it's like a 2-3 minute survey. Right now we're having some technical difficulties with it, so I'm having to email people personally with the results. But normally you can access your own results, and then you get an email that invites you to a staging questionnaire afterwards, so that you can then stage like, what is the level of disease that I have, if in fact this is what I have. But it will explain to you, like, this might not be what you have. This is not diagnostic. It's purely for educational purposes to try to understand what are the many things that could explain these symptoms. And then you need to take that information and be the best health advocate you can be for yourself or for your loved one.
Okay. Because I'm already thinking about, family members, myself, that I was going to ask you, when should I worry? Because is it just a menopause thing? Because I just had a lot of, tests run last week. Because menopause has done a doozy on me. And one of the things that has happened is, another thing too, COVID. I mean, we'll go back to COVID. So another thing is that with menopause, I'm like, what's the word? Okay, how do you say that? In English or in Spanish? Or there have been times that I'm going somewhere and I'm like, I'm driving. Next thing you know, I'm like going home. I'm like, wait, I was gonna go here, but then I was like, I'm hoping it's just automatic pilot, what they call autopilot. So that's where I've kind of been concerned. And then with my mom, I listen to my mom, and she shares so much, but sometimes she shares the same thing over and over, and I don't. And sometimes she'll stop herself and say, "Did I tell you that already?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you did." So should I tell her, "Mom, you told me that. This is the third time you've told me, and it's like you're telling me for the first time." Should I worry? Should I start going through this?
Yeah, I mean, I think because there is a lot of stigma, like I would approach that situation carefully with a lot of curiosity, right? And compassion. Like, Mom, I've just noticed that you have, I think sometimes forget that you've already told me something. I don't know if you've noticed that, have you noticed that? And has it bothered you? Has it like prevented you from, like, have you missed meetings with friends, or like, has it impacted your life? Right. Yeah. Just to get a sense of how aware she is of it, and how willing she's also to disclose to you, to share that with you. It's a challenge getting our loved ones to get evaluated, as I mentioned, in my own family, right? That's very common, which is why we have this tool. Yeah. But yeah, it's, I think then just kind of gradually trying to introduce to her, like, this is something that happens to so many people when we're 65. And I'm going to tell you these numbers I'm about to share, and I'll tell you by contrast what the numbers are in Ecuador, right? When you're 65 in the United States, and these numbers are probably going to largely affect clinical research populations in the US, which are very much skewed to people who are white. But in the US, supposedly, if you're 65, less than 5% of people have dementia. So it's unlikely that if you're like 50 that you have dementia, but it's possible. And some dementias do start earlier. It's possible. So the thing for you, for instance, is to just make sure that you're looking at it over time, and that you are telling your physician, I am having memory issues. And if you have it in your family, I do have it in my family. I'm having memory issues. The thing to be more concerned about is if they are worsening over time.
Got it. Okay.
And you should definitely let them know, and say, like, I would like for you to go ahead and test me, or like document something so we know where I was. So if I get worse, we can see that, right? Yeah. And there is like more formal neuropsychological testing that can be done that takes like 3-4 hours. That's much more detailed, that can give you a better sense of what exactly is impacted now and what might change with time. But anyway, so going back to like how you then convince this person over time, like to be evaluated. I think that's where I was. Yes. Yeah. You want to tell them, like, when you're 65, like, so few people have this, but as we age, by the time we're 90 in the United States, 30% of people have it. Wow. From 5? In Ecuador, which I think is going to be more representative of our immigrant populations, particularly our Latino immigrant populations, but it might be still more country specific, or even regionally specific within a country, and it is probably there are class differences and things like that as well, educational differences, because less education is also a risk factor. That's the one I think I forgot. Okay. So all of these things compound and put you at greater risk. So in Ecuador, at 65, about 20 to 35% of people have dementia, versus less than 5% in a population that's probably overwhelmingly white in the US. And then at age 90 in Ecuador, it's more like 70+%, as opposed to 30% in the United States. So you can imagine, like, those disparities, like, we are not talking about that enough. Recently, at the beginning of this month, Francisco Lopera passed away. He's like iconic in Alzheimer's research. He discovered this Colombian family that has like a genetic kind of epilepsy, where they have Alzheimer's, where they have Alzheimer's very early on. And, this is something that very, very much heavily impacts folks from Latin America. And to know about it early is so helpful, and in terms of convincing our loved ones to be evaluated, it's just educating them about like, this is the reality, right? Yeah. And it's not just you, it's going to be like the majority of us, right? Yeah. Like, if we don't start doing something about it, and there are those 14 things, you can start doing something about that today. Like, me constantly educating people about these things that are modifiable risk factors, I have changed what I do in my own life. Okay. I'm already looking at the list. I went back to the YMCA. I know no one's paying me for YMCA shout outs, but I went last week twice.
And I went back again this week once, and I was craving a drink last night. Like, oh, I want to make a mimosa, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna not. And I brewed my hibiscus tea, and I was just been drinking hibiscus tea, and I have it in my fridge. So it's like I'm trying, to think what does my body need? I'm 50. I'm hitting I've got menopause hitting me. I'm not even hitting it. So, also looking at my diet and looking at, I don't smoke. But, some of the things that I thought about was COVID. Has there been any information or research or anything about COVID and foggy brain? Because I was impacted severely with foggy brain with COVID. And so that was really scary, and not being able to remember things or words, whatever that, got me into having panic attacks. That I didn't know were panic attacks. So then I came out of that, okay, and then whammo. I got menopause, and now I'm like, well, I'm forgetting stuff again. But okay, okay? So now I'm just that, which is why I asked. I'm going to put myself through this tool to see for me. And then I've already told my doctors, when I went last Wednesday, like, this is what I'm feeling, this is what's happening. They have all my COVID information and what have you. But now feeling that again, because I got two teen girls. I got to know where I'm at and where I'm going, because I still have some kids to raise. I'm still brain building. And, you talk about brain health together. I work for the Hackett Center for Mental Health, and one of the program that I'm assistant director of is Brain Builders, and it's all about supports and tips and strategies to maximize that rapid growth between 0 to 3 that happens. But also moms and caregivers, what are you doing to take care of you? Because this, raising kids is tough and it's challenging. So your brain needs to be okay as well. Your body, are you eating? Are you drinking water? Are you exercising? Are you breathing, taking in oxygen? What are you doing to take care of you? So, and this is not the first time you're going to be here. I would like to bring you back. I would like to have your information in the Brain Builder community of parents and caregivers, because not only, and there's a lot of families that they're intergenerational. They're not only are they taking care of their little ones, their teens, their tweens, but now they got moms, elders in their family who are also, some of them taking care of the kids, but they're also aging. So how we need to make sure these conversations are happening. I did see in my co-parents family, my former mother-in-law, she is actually in a place now in LA where they were their primary caregivers because she was experiencing dementia, and it accelerated really fast. And now she's in the home where they're taking care of her. But I did see my loved ones out there. They're still part of my family. Really had to work hard at taking care of her, because it was almost as if they were taking care of someone that was like a toddler, like a little one. There's so many things, and it's different for everyone. But I was like, I really had a special place in my heart for them because of the work they were doing to make sure that, she was okay and safe. And
safe, like from yourself, and then also safe really like as kind of a public health, public safety kind of thing as well. I mean, one thing that comes up a lot is driving for people with dementia. When is that time that you should have that conversation? And I say, like I said, once you have that diagnosis, you need to start, you need to talk about what the whole journey is going to look like in all likelihood. And just start thinking about, how am I going to transition? How am I going to get the supports in place? All of those things.
Everything. Well, Donna, we're going to cut right here, but this is going to continue in another show, another recording, and getting this out there, because this is so needed. But I want to thank you, but go ahead, and we're going to take it to the backstage, but don't go yet, because we're going to do a little class picture when we're done.
Oh, nice.
So thank you so much, Donna Kim Murphy, for sharing about prognosis, about sharing about Alzheimer's, dementia, what we can do, the 14 risk factors that we need to make sure that we keep an eye on. And we're going to have you back. So thank you so much for being here today. And I'm going to segue over, because, we all need art. Art will always save us and help us. in the good times and the bad times. And I want to bring on, as we get ready to close, my next guest. I wanted to come back and share what's going on with Angel Quesada, with his art, with him, what's new, what's happening. So come on down. Let's see if we can bring him on. Let's see if we got Donna back. There he is. Hi. Wait, I can't hear you. Turn on your sound. You're muted.
I was just coming down or up from the basement.
Oh, there you go. So, Angel Quesada, I want you to wrap it up for us. What is new with you? I see you're standing in front of your mural.
Yeah, the Segundo Barrio mural.
Uh-huh. Dun, dun.
Yeah, I just put some new prints up of some of these photos that I've taken of this mural over the years, over at Ser Jobs, over there on Telephone Road. So I just did that yesterday. So
so why?
That's up. Yeah, it's
share
up.
About that. What's going on? Can people go see this? I hear there's going to be like an opening. What's going on with Ser Jobs and your prints?
It's pretty casual. I'll be putting stuff out there. I think they're doing a Loteria event on October 11th. But other than that, doing some stuff at Rock the Vote. I'm gonna have some merch available there. Got the Kamala shirts. I didn't grab them from the other room, but I should have. And then what else? Cristina Morales, the Honorable Cristina Morales, state rep, Texas rep, invited me to be a artist vendor at the event that's gonna reveal a new Gonzo mural. And so I'll be there on the 29th.
Nice. That's this weekend already, right?
Oh my God.
So you got this Rock the Vote. You're going to be selling merch there, and Rock the Vote's happening this Saturday, right?
That's right.
And that's going to be over at the Ham?
Oh, no. That's a different thing. The Rock the Vote is at...
Or the Raise the Vote.
That's Raise the Vote. That's the right.
Yeah, but not this one. This is a different one. This is the one that's coming up on Sunday.
That's
right?
El Poder del Voto. So that's
El Poder del Voto. Nice.
That's a mural unveil, and it's kind of like a meetup with different, politicians and civic leaders that will be there. Community event. And then tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow is the Houston Alliance for Latinx Arts meeting, our quarterly meeting. We're going to be doing it at the Deluxe Theater. That's at 3303 Lyons Avenue, and that's free just to come and network and meet other Latinx artists from Houston and the surrounding areas, and that's at 6:30. We do that 4 times a year, so this is a really cool event that it's sort of like a networking, and then different organizations and arts partners share about opportunities for artists, for Latinx artists.
Nice. So that's in the Spanglish.
Latin, all the letters. So,
everyone's included.
Yeah. And I've just been running around today, getting some other prints framed, ordered up, and just a lot of paperwork, and sitting at my desk. Now I'm standing at my standing desk.
Oh, I see. I probably should stand too, but I'm not.
I was listening to the really interesting Comadre that you had on right before me. And there was some really interesting conversation and really cool ways to talk about the phenomenon of dementia. And it was really insightful to hear all the different ways that this dementia epidemic is kind of taken over. And then, you brought up about the diet. That's also an important thing. The movement and the diet work hand in hand to prevent, because we are these spaceships that
I wrote it down.
Space. Oh yeah.
I took notes. I was like, yeah. I love how you talk about taking care of your spaceship. And so share about that, because you actually do offer something for people.
I teach Tai Chi. Yes, I teach Tai Chi, and I've been teaching Tai Chi privately for several years. I've been practicing and studying for, I guess, the past quarter of a century.
Wow.
So
you don't look a day over 30.
Yeah. I don't know. That's all in the mind, right? So we think we're a certain age, and so then we believe it. We have to dress a certain way and act a certain way.
But we need to be doing this. Some kind of movement, diet, exercise. Yes. Yeah. And yes. Like, I think I texted you too. Like did I tell you that I was craving having a drink? I think I did. No.
Yeah. I know we've talked about that before. So
yeah. Like last night I was craving making a mimosa. Yeah. I didn't have any juice, but I was like, I really want a mimosa. And all I had was the alcohol. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe not. I shouldn't. I'm just gonna drink my hibiscus tea. So I brewed it and I made it, and I've been drinking that since yesterday. But even today, I woke up and I'm like, I shouldn't be thinking about having a mimosa, but I want.
Oh my God.
So I don't know what I'm craving. Am I really craving alcohol? Am I craving?
It's like the different colonies that live inside your spaceship. You know, you've got these flora and fauna, maybe more flora, that live inside your gut, and like those gut flora, those little communities in there, they're like, feed me sugar, and so like alcohol is like super good for that. And so
to feed the sugar bugs.
I'm all about it. Yes, all the sugar little buggies that live in your gut. And they're all like, give me more.
Yeah. And you know what? Sometimes when we have conversations, and I'm going to ask you this, do I always sometimes say the same thing over and over?
No, of course not. No. Yeah.
Should I be worried? Should I, because I'm taking notes.
It's, I think that I was thinking about the word dementia and like what dimension that we're in, and how do we reconcile, like, for example, if you even look at the new dimensions, but spelled DIMENSION.
Yeah.
You think about the different dimensions of reality, and how the one side of the political spectrum sees reality in a certain way.
That's right.
And
pixelated.
It's another dimension. And yeah, like right before we came on for this show, you were pixelated. We were not communicating well. Now I can see you. Oh, now you went back to being that way. But that's just the modes of communication. Maybe that's because there's some asteroid that is acting as our second moon that created some magnetic frequency. There's so many unknowns that are at play here. So we think we know what's going on, but on multiple dimensions, which are proven, that's happening at the same time.
So whenever I start repeating myself, please let me know it's time to,
pull the plug.
No, shut up. Now I'm actually already going to do this.
Time to get a drink. Time to get a drink.
Yes.
You're repeating yourself again. Let's get you into that.
I went another
mimosa.
Yeah, no, but I was thinking about that as we age, taking care of our spaceships. And I love how you use an analogy of your body and taking care of your spaceships. And when you said right now inside your spaceship, you have floral and fauna and
you're like, because there's so many things living on you and in you. Where do you stop? And where do those little things that are kind of like living in symbiotic relationship with you begin?
Absolutely. And then when she talked about like pollution, like it's also a factor. I'm like, well, damn. I mean, what am I supposed? It's like, how do and then tying it to our political landscape, right? Who's out there, who's running for what, and then all of the things that have happened, hence under certain leadership. Like I was talking to Dona about that pipe that exploded. And the first thing I thought was like, why do we have gas pipes like that poking out? Why are we building homes and schools around these factories? So close, why do we?
Some of us are like those little flora and fauna that live in the person called America, and they want alcohol.
And they want a mimosa.
They want a mimosa bad. They're gonna go and take down the president. So,
well, speaking of
let's not kill the host. Yes.
No, we're not. No, I just wanted to just remind everyone. And if you could pull this up right now, you can stay right here, Angel, because you and I are pretty big on making sure that people go and vote. We, make sure that we even have a shirt that says Comadres and Compadres for Kamala. He's going to go get it. But don't forget to check your voter registration. So, Comadre Liliana, if you could pull up that picture that has a QR code and it has, are you registered to vote? Are you ready to vote? Go and check your voter registration. So right there, if you are watching, you can take out your phone and scan that QR code. It takes you straight to the link where you can input your information and check your voter registration and make sure you are registered to vote. Make sure that you know where to go, where to vote, because that website also gives you information as to where you could vote, where your polling place is, because we want to make sure that your vote is counted for. And we also have, if you're not registered to vote, maybe you're going to be 18 by the time the election happens. There is a deadline. I don't know what it is right now. And no, I have not had a mimosa. But I'll make sure to be posting that on my social media as well as RadioCrystalUSA.com. And just know that a disclaimer that the views expressed by us, the guests, are our own, and our appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement. So just want to put that out there. So let's see, compadre. Do you have your shirt? El compa.
Got it.
All right, so let's bring. There he is. We got comadres for Kamala.
Well, I got the compas too, but this one is the comadres.
I love it because
this is the gray one.
Could be a comadre. That's the gray one. So we have comadres for Kamala and we have compas for Kamala. And that was actually my idea.
Yeah.
I was like, you gotta make a papel picado version of her name.
I was so busy.
And then
well, you gotta do it.
And then what did you put at the bottom?
She se puede. We totally took Eva Longoria's.
All right. So one more time, disclaimer: these what we're sharing here today. Do not say that Radio Cristal is endorsing a candidate or a view. This is all just the guest and myself, the host. Wait, where are you going with that? Oh, and here's another shirt. So if you would like to purchase any of Angel Quesada's shirts, you can check him out this Saturday at Raise the Vote. Google it online and you'll be able to see Raise the Vote. And there's actually going to be a kickoff party this Thursday at Jonathan the Rub. So you want to go out there and see what all that's about. Raising the vote, making sure our voice is heard. And Angel's going to be out there on Saturday with his shirts, his merch. And he'll also be over at the Cristina Morales. She is also a super comadre. She's been on the show before when she was running for her state rep position, and she's still holding on to it. Thank you, Representative, the Honorable Cristina Morales, who is having an event this Sunday, and it's the unveiling of a new mural by Gonzo, and Angel will also be there, sharing and selling his merch as well. He and Gonzo are actually contemporaries. So, all right, where are you, compadre? Where are you, Donna? Let's bring everybody back. All right, so thank you so much for coming on and sharing. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, Angel. And thank you, my super comadre Liliana, for making sure that we have this platform where we have this space so we can share this valuable information. And yes, and thank you so much, Angel, for catching us up with what's going on with the arts here in Houston. Donna, thank you for your information. I'm going to be, connecting with you because I want to do that, and I want to make sure that I have that offered for my mom, and for my family, and gently sharing that too. But take care of yourselves first, because I know we got a lot of things to do in life. And let's say cheese, because we're gonna take a picture. Want to take a picture? Let's do a selfie. Who got the camera? Who's taking the picture? Is that you?
I can do it.
Who's taking it?
I am.
Oh, you're taking it? Okay.
So 1, 2, 3.
I heard it. All right. So take care of yourselves. Make sure to follow, like, listen, watch, all that. RadioCristalUSA.com. Make sure to follow Donna Kim Murphy, Prognosis. Make sure to follow Angel Quesada and Liliana Elizondo, of course, también. So take care of yourselves. We'll see you the next time. Adios.
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 Gracias por haber estado aquí en el show Catching Up with Claudia. ¿Tan tan? ¿Ya terminamos? Ok, bye.
Bienvenidos a Supernova Furniture, donde encontrarás salas, recámaras, comedores, vanities, escritorios, desayunadores, espejos, reclinables, cómodas, cajoneras, descansets, biombos, respaldos, mesas de centro, literas, lámparas, colchones de todos los tamaños y texturas, vitrinas, muebles para oficina, alfombras, detalles, adornos, salas de teatro y mucho más. No te lo pierdas, todo aquí en un solo lugar. Supernova Furniture ofrece todo lo que necesitas para tu hogar. Recuerda, tenemos muchas locaciones alrededor de todo Houston. Además, estamos abiertos todos los días.